Join Gator great Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Actually, not welcoming you back. I was reading a text here. Good morning. It's a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Wicked music, they say. Bring back the Gator bait. I don't even know what the music. I can't hear anything. That's all the producer. So we'll have Zach check out the jukebox and put something better on, I guess. JC, you're on the Titan Emerald Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tip. What's up?
They're right. I mean, bring it back. Bring back your identity as a football program, please. Be somebody worthy of people's attention, please. Be the Gator bait school. Be the school that you want to be. Hire former Gators to coach this flailing program and get your shit together. That's what you need to do at the University of Florida. Get rid of all that fat over there. They've got too much. Cut the fat. Get rid of all that and start being fiscally responsible with your program. That's another thing it could do. Listen, I'm feeling good. The yard is an absolute mess. Just got back from St. Augustine. Places, it's upheaval over here, but we'll get it.
Yeah.
We'll get it figured out.
I'm hoping we decide to help the folks in the Big Bend area and up in North Carolina and not worry about some other countries. That's all I got to say.
God, I don't think anybody in Tennessee, North Carolina has heard from anyone over there in D.C.
No, I finally got a hold of actually Kerwin and Jerry. They had no power. They have no idea how they're going to be able to practice because kids are all over the country.
Yeah.
It's a disaster.
It's an absolute disaster. It's an absolute. A couple of towns have been destroyed, outright destroyed, just gone. It's like they were nuked. It's horrible. Man. I mean, this storm's name will be retired. They will never have another Helene, just like they'll never have another Katrina. There's never been another Camille, I don't think. So this name goes into the record books. No more of that.
Yeah.
QB, tough day yesterday. So first of all, I just wanted you to know we both had pretty good weeks on our picks contest.
Yeah, how did I do on our Peachland Dental picks?
Yeah, both of us go 8-4-1. Your losers were Texas, Mississippi, UCF, and Houston Texans. My losers were Texas, UCF, FSU. I mean, what in the hell was I thinking there? And the Houston Cougars. All I can say is the folks at Tallahassee, that school's paying this guy $800,000 to throw 3 interceptions at SMU and just really stink up the joint. And I don't know what Mike Norvell's thinking in his head, but he's got to think that this guy's not the answer and just count it up as a capital loss and start thinking about somebody else for the future of your program. You cannot win with DJ Uiagalelei. And, Florida, on the other hand, has a guy that doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, that actually does find the end zone. And after that Colorado UCF game, QB, don't you think that maybe Florida now has a different outlook on this game as far as the fans go? Because, my God, Colorado goes into UCF and blows them out. I mean, who saw that coming?
Yeah, I was told UCF hadn't played anybody, which was actually true.
Like Ole Miss.
KJ Jefferson, I watched bits and pieces of that game. He looked very slow to me, slower than he did last year. But again, Colorado had a good plan, and they beat their butts. I got to get to some of these Facebook YouTubes, JC. O'Brien on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says, I wonder how Shane will spin the wheels coming off the lane train. Look, they got beat. If anybody, this is what blows my mind when it comes to people talking about so-called coaches or whatever. Just because they lose a game, people don't want them anymore. That's the dumbest damn thing I've ever heard. I mean, really think about how dumb that is.
Well, listen, I think Mississippi got caught up in them reading the newspaper headlines about this.
But I mean, JC, I can't tell you how many people text me, but we don't need, or on the Titan Mar text, we don't need Lane now. People,
really?
There's only like 3 coaches in America that have a chance to win national titles, and I'm not saying he's one of them, and he's not going to do it at Ole Miss, but he's a damn good football coach, and everybody would take him right now. I mean, it's it is just stupidity to think because they lose a game that it's over. And then, of course, O'Brien says, if Lane is the modern day Spurrier, how come he lost to Kentucky? Well, Kentucky is not your granddaddy's Kentucky. Okay, they're different.
They'll hit you in the face.
They're not even. Kentucky is nowhere near than what Kentucky was when Coach Spurrier coached.
No, it's nothing. True. No, nothing like it. They are physical. Now, listen, I'm not putting them up there in the world of maybe the Alabamas, Texases, and Georgias, but they are a very physical team. They play Georgia tough, and their quarterbacks, sometimes they can win in spite of them. And that's a good sign for them because Mississippi, they read the headlines. They saw how they talked about how great they were. Listen, they didn't play anybody before Kentucky rolled in, but they should have won the game. I watched it. This guy fumbles the ball going in the end zone, and it lands right into the Kentucky player's lap. But those kinds of things can happen.
There's so many things. I mean,
there's Kentucky, so many things.
I could not believe Mark Stoops went for it on 4th down with all that time left, and he throws a go route. And it was a perfect throw and catch. If not, Ole Miss wins the game. Look, I don't care. And then O'Brien must be a new listener who's a troller. These young people like call people trolling.
He is on UQB.
That's fine. He goes, y'all don't want Billy because he lost games. No, dude, you obviously don't know sports. You don't. Yeah, it's not losing games. It's the same result and the same stuff that you see with your eyes.
Yeah.
All right. So enough of that. I just think it's hilarious.
You brought it up.
I know, because I can't tell you how many texts I got. Well, we don't need Lane because they lost to Kentucky. Well, does Georgia need Kirby anymore since he's lost 3 times in the last 48 games to Alabama? I'm sure Georgia wants to fire him. So whatever. It's hilarious to me.
Just drain the swamp. Drain the swamp here in Gainesville. Let's get this thing together. I'm tired of being everybody, trying to be friendly about everything, and just say what you mean. And what I mean is they got to change this program here. They got to change it, and they've got to start at the top down. And that's the fact. If you don't believe it, then keep watching what you've been watching for the last 3 years, and don't complain about it.
Joseph says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, all I got out of the weekend is Florida's going to have a chance at least one or of our 2 needs at head coach by signing day. Lane and Lincoln will be for sure be in play now.
Lincoln Riley. You're still thinking about Lincoln Riley for some reason.
I'm just reading what the fans are saying, JC.
Yeah, I know.
But I do think he's in play.
Yeah.
I don't. And Matt says here, the Ole Miss loss was good for Florida. One more loss for Mississippi. And we have our new coach before the transfer portal closes.
Well, I mean, Billy Napier could be 3-2 this time next week. What do you think of that? And, that might, I don't know, it might change people's thinking as far as this year goes. As far as doing it during the season. I think everybody knows that by the end of the year, that's going to be the end of the road. But I think we're going to go through the entire season with what.
All right, here's another Army sniper. Facts are facts. Kiffin is 4-23 versus top 25 teams.
Woo!
Okay. Well, let's just pull out all the coaches that aren't Kalen DeBoer, Kirby Smart, Dabo, and bring me those stats, because it's all going to be about the same. I mean, but here's what people don't understand is, if you're in the need of a new head coach, you're probably not going to get one of those coaches that's 23-4 against top 25 teams, right?
It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it ain't going to happen.
Listen, it's so hard to talk about, moving people in and out of town. It really is, because all we're really basing anything on is what we see on Saturday in the past and what we think could happen and translate to here. It's really hard. I mean, it's not something. There's no exact science to this. But when you watch your team play, everybody's going to have something to say about, they should have done this, or they should have done that, or that was really good, or that was really great. But nothing's perfect. And if you look at the pattern of the way the games have gone, if that's not going to change, then and the results aren't there, then a change has to be made. Simple as that. there's no pattern change that I see in this team. So Florida has got to make a decision from the top down. The issue is the people at the top, namely the president, are out of here, and the guy underneath him is in hot water right now with the fan base and the boosters. That's the problem. How are you going to let this guy Strickland hire the next coach here at Florida after these 2 whiffs? I don't think you can do that, QB. That's the issue for me, is because nobody in their right mind is going to go to a school where the AD is in hot water and the president is non-existent. And I just think that's reality in this world. But then again, this world, there's a lot of different realities for people. So who the hell knows? I'm just saying that if you don't know who your boss is, why the hell would you move your family and 30 other families to Gainesville until you figure that out?
I don't think that's going to be that's not going to be an issue. When it's time, it will not be an issue.
So Strickland's going to be the guy to choose the next coach?
I don't know. I think there's a chance he will be here, but I don't know if he's choosing the coach. I don't know who's going to choose it.
Okay.
The Board of Regents. Board of Regents probably.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm going to leave my cush job here in Oxford to go work for the Board of Regents. That sounds great. A bunch of guys that no, I'm not saying. I'm saying they're going to be part of it.
Well, no, Regents, I get it. Presidents, athletic director, boosters, all that.
I know, but coaches don't want to have guys that own businesses out there in the world running football programs. They want football people.
They're not going to run it, JC. They're going to say, "Here's your money. Go," like they did with Billy.
Yeah.
Go win us games.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're not going to do. I mean, he's got as much money as he needs right now, and it's not working.
Right. I know.
So, JC, what you need some core power, JC.
Yes.
You need core power.
Let me see that. Stick that in
So let me just tell you about core power.
I can't see it. It's in the chroma key. Move it. There you go. Well,
yeah. Champion your recovery with core power, delicious high quality protein to build muscles and electrolytes to help hydrate. Core power, replenish, repair, and rebuild. I'm going to take you a couple of chugs here.
Are they a sponsor of this program, QB? Where's my packet at? Where
I think they are.
Well, let's ship some over here, please. I'm ready to start sponsoring.
JC, this has got way too many calories for you to take right now.
Yeah,
this is for young folks that really want to build their body.
Okay, Mr. 50.
Okay, Army Sniper's giving me some stats here. Kirby Smart is 24-11 against top 25. Nick Saban's 71-51. Okay, you got 2 Hall of Famers. Jimbo Fisher's 19-28. Josh Heupel's 6-10. Hugh Freeze is 10-20. Billy Napier's 3-9. Lane Kiffin's 4-23. Okay, well, I will say out of all those that you just mentioned, Lane's at the lesser program or school than any of the other ones he just mentioned.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, JC?
I would.
Okay.
I would.
All right. Obviously, Army Sniper does not like Lane Kiffin, so well.
Anthony says, JC, he's gone. Anthony Wells here. Billy's gone. He's gone. It's already been decided. Everybody's decided. Okay, fine. I'm just saying, if we're going to move on to another big name, if we're going to get a splash hire, as they like to say, and remember, Eli Drinkwitz was not a splash hire. A lot of these guys were not splash hires that are winning today. But if we're going to get a splash hire, there's got to be some stability in this program. That's what I want.
Gator Josh says on the Titan Mar text sign, good morning. The Bulldogs Alabama game was an instant classic, best game. It's probably the best game I've ever seen. I wanted to bring that up. You know what? You know what's crazy about that game is?
Crazy.
Both defensive coordinators played so much man coverage.
Yeah.
And what I loved about it is the coaches said, to hell with it. We're going to drop back and we're just going to throw go routes. Yeah. And that's about what both teams did. Their receivers made plays, and then at the end, Alabama kid who was getting clobbered the whole game made a play. And he intercepted the end zone.
I was wondering when
they took advantage of the one-on-ones. That's all football is find your matchup and throw it to them.
The sheriff.
Simple.
The sheriff and Mike Bobo called good games. I will say, though, that I thought the Alabama defense coordinator, who was the South Alabama head coach last year, did call some very timely blitzes on Georgia, and it did help at times. But how many fourth downs did they convert, QB? 6 or 7? It was amazing.
Well, I will tell you this: Kane Womack, the first half.
Kane Womack, that's him.
I was watching the TV copy. Boy, he was rolling the dice, JC, because he was playing a lot of cover zero, nobody in the middle of the field, which is very dangerous and dumb, in my opinion.
Listen, it was in the second half, but they had to come back. I'm surprised Alabama wasn't a little bit more soft on their coverages in the second half with zone. But I would tell you that the player that I think made the biggest impact on the whole night is the guy that never gets talked about for the Heisman that has got to be talked about right now, and that's the quarterback at Alabama. And the reason for that is because he is responsible for something like 18 touchdowns by either throwing or running in 4 freaking games. 18. Nobody's done that this year. Nobody's even close to that. That's the idea of a winning quarterback, getting the ball in the end zone. Bill Parcells, you have a good quarterback because he wins games and gets the ball in the end zone. That's Bill Parcells. Okay, he's the godfather. He's the one who spawned Bill Belichick. He spawned Nick Saban. He spawned Phil Simms. He spawned all these greats. That's what I believe right there, QB. You can have all the great techniques and all the great intangibles as a quarterback. The bottom line is you have to put the ball in the end zone. And I'll tell you what, your guy Beck did a great job of coming back. He turned it over a few times, but man, he was tight. He was throwing great passes the entire second half, and they wore out Alabama on the defensive end. There is no way you're going to tell me that the loser of this game has to worry about the college football playoffs.
No, that was game 1 of 3.
That is
a 3-game series. Probably.
Very possible. But QB, the 12-game playoff does this now. It takes some of the pressure off these games, like Alabama, Georgia. But you can see how badly both teams wanted to win. But you saw that the pressure is not there as far as the postseason anymore. And that's important too. Georgia could go beat Texas in a couple weeks, and Texas is still very much alive for the playoffs. And I think, that's what we want now, is we want a little bit more of I don't want each game to be an open and shut case for the playoff. I don't want that. I think that's going to cut down on all the innuendo and bullshit at the end of the year, and we're going to be fine and have the 12 best teams playing for the championship.
G says, I need to apologize about Jalen Milroe being TJ. I do. He's still not a great thrower of the football, in my opinion, but he is the
wheel
fastest.
Route looks pretty good. That wheel route looks
JC, everybody's going to make a good. I'm talking about from a consistent standpoint, but I will say he is the fastest football player I think I've ever seen on the field.
He is so fast. And
I'm talking about any position. I've never seen anybody run
around the edge
the way he runs. Yeah. And he is a tough dude.
He takes hits. He takes late hits. He takes early hits. The guy can flat fly. He's 220 pounds. He's a monster back there. He's hard to deal with, and Alabama will always have a chance, irrespective of some of their other weaknesses, as long as he's playing in that game, because he can put the ball in the end zone. That's it.
Yep, for sure.
That's it.
All right, I had some other texts I wanted to get to. I was reading. I've got so much stuff I got to read here. It's difficult.
Well, you read.
Daryl says he's going to head up to the Tennessee game next week.
Ooh.
But he's going to take I-75 route. I don't know how you get to Tennessee. I've never driven to Knoxville, but I would think it's not going to be easy getting there.
While Bill Kelso says, I am incorrect. Money and big buyouts will pull almost anyone. Well, I think that's to a certain extent true, but I think people that want to move their families and ask 30 other families to come with them have to have some knowledge of who they're working for and not who's just writing checks. If some guy who owns a trucking company in Lake Butler, who I think is a great guy, by the way, if he's writing the checks, the coach doesn't like that. Those coaches don't want that. They don't want to have to answer to people that aren't in the.
They don't answer. JC, that's Auburn, where I think you're.
Auburn has
you don't put Auburn in the same category as everybody else. That's not fair.
But that's just a cautionary. No, but it's a cautionary tale. You don't want Bobby Louders of the world. The Miami's, okay, all these guys, Ruiz and all that. You don't want these people running your program. That's all I'm saying about.
Well, JC, look, put it this way: the people that are already writing those checks for like NIL deals. Okay, what's the difference between them writing that and then writing to pay for a coach?
Well, I think they just like to dictate what happens, and coaches.
Okay, well, they're already doing that. They're already doing that with NIL. So,
well, okay.
Dan says Michael Vick was super fast. He was. My eyes tell me that Jalen Milroe is way faster.
He's so fast. Nobody can catch him. And that kid number 2, the 17-year-old for Alabama, he might be faster. So it's incredible
He's
how much
smooth. He
how
is
much
smooth from
speed is on the
Saraland,
outside.
right in Mobile.
He's good. Saraland, that's right, off I-10. There you go.
Yep.
I know all about
G wants to know on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum. Have y'all talked about UNLV yet? It was satisfying to see the backup ball out and look better than the quitter. Yeah, UNLV didn't miss a beat. I actually think this guy, everything I read says he played better. I mean, it's one game, but he's a good player. Good for them.
Good for them. They're 4-0. 4-0, and they're a group of 5 team that can win and be the highest rated group of 5 team and go to the playoff. Anything like that's possible. I love JMU too. I think what they're doing is incredible.
It is incredible. They lost their coach to Indiana, and they haven't missed a beat.
They have not missed a beat, no. And how about Indiana, by the way, since you mentioned them? 50-something points the other day. Or no, it was in 40s. I think they were in the 40s. But they hammered their opponent the other day. It was good to see for them. They're 4-0 too, I think. 4 or 5. 4-0. Maryland. They blew out Maryland. Blew them out. Just blew them out. So
yeah, I think you took Maryland, right?
Yeah.
All right, I was looking through the score.
Oh, JLB loves me, QB. You better read JLB. Says, great show like usual. JC should be on every day. I don't know if I can, but I used to. Let's see. Anthony coming back. I agree with JC. It's important to have a stable UAA and university. We have a lot of moving parts that need to be fixed. They got too much fat over there. Thank you, Anthony. You're right. There's too many assistants. There's too many analysts. There's too many people walking around.
That has nothing to do with hiring a coach, though, JC.
I'm just saying it's bad organization, QB. It's bad organization.
I don't think it's bad organization.
Well, I think it's overkill. It's because of the coach we have all that crap over there.
It's all because of your old coach.
My old coach won. My old coach won. He's the GOAT, brother. I don't care what he did. You can't tell me that this guy over here is trying to be my old coach. Come on. This guy over here is trying to figure it out on the job, and Florida's paying him $7 million while he does it. And didn't Dabo fire Billy? Did that happen? You would know, QB. So
I think he did. But I mean, look, think about how many coaches get fired.
I don't care. This is the leader of the Florida program you're talking about over here, getting fired by a dude at Clemson that won't even use the transfer portal. The dude at Clemson, by the way, whose team is irrelevant since Trevor Law left. They haven't done anything. Clemson, Dabo's on the down.
They're going to win the ACC, probably.
I got a $5 that say they do not win the ACC.
Who are they going to beat? Who's going to beat them? Yeah.
I don't know.
They should have lost the other day, JC. That was a loss.
They should have
lost. That dude caught that football.
Yeah. How do you make a change like that if you don't truly know? I think Rui's made a call. I don't know, man. I just know that Miami is surprising to me. They're much better. They've got a great quarterback. Virginia Tech has got a bad record, but they got some athletes. We saw it. But Miami, Clemson, it's going to be a 2-horse race, I think, over there in that conference, QB.
Yeah.
That conference.
So JC, Debo was fired. You know who was fired a bunch too as a coach?
Who's that?
A guy named Orr.
Yeah. Well, really?
That getting fired.
Wait a minute. Who fired Orr?
He got fired by a dude at Georgia Tech. I think I can't remember the head coach. He was the quarterback coach.
Oh, okay. They fired him.
I think he got let go at Duke and then went back to Duke.
No, I don't think he got let go at Duke. He just quit. He just left and came to Florida, QB. You think Duke?
No. He was at Duke twice.
Duke twice? Okay.
Yeah. So it was Bill Curry that fired him.
Oh, there's a winner. Now that's a winner right there. A guy single-handedly.
Well, he coached for your team too.
He single-handedly tried to ruin it after Ray Perkins. That was the worst time period of our history. I'm telling you right now. And I happened to be there during the 80s. It was horrible. But then came Stallings. QB, wake up. We're not trying to put you to sleep over here. I know. Listen, let me ask you this. While everybody was playing football and you were off, not calling the game as a color analyst, what did you get to do while all the cleanup was going on here in the area?
I played golf.
So the golf course was in good shape. I kind of knew you were going to say that.
Well, I played out of town. Our UF lost a bunch of trees. So.
Oh, geez. Wow.
Okay. Yeah, like big trees that affected the holes. Like they were designed around the trees. So it's not good. Did you see where Augusta National lost like 150 trees?
Damn. Well, that's.
I saw pictures of it on a drone, dude. Magnolia Lane, which isn't part of the course, but it's an awesome drive-in. it was destroyed.
Well,
but there are pine trees down everywhere.
It's amazing what 10 inches of rain can do to the soil that knocks down trees on a tropical.
Well, it was the wind too, JC. See,
Yeah.
you weren't here. The wind in Gainesville was about 80 or something miles an hour.
You're right. I left. You're right. I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it. That's a Hurricane 1. That's a Hurricane 1 that hit Gainesville. Okay. As far as
and it went all the way through the state of Georgia.
Incredible.
I have a friend in Moultrie, Georgia, that lost. He said he lost 20. He lives on a big farm.
Mm-hmm.
He said he lost 25 trees.
Damn. Well, like I said, they'll retire that name. We will never have another Helene. I can tell you that. Doesn't mean we'll never.
Frank the Tank wants to know what are y'all's thoughts on the fake injuries that Lane Kiffin's team did at Ole Miss?
He's been doing that since he got there to try to slow down that tempo. That's what they do. Oh,
but wait, no. Here was what was weird is I saw the second half of that game. They were faking injuries on offense, not on defense. He had his running back fall down twice, which makes no sense to me.
I got a very good text from probably the most reliable source, other than Coach Spurrier himself. He was not fired. The coaches were not retained, and he was part of the staff. That's how that happened. So I guess technically you could say he was just not retained, But I guess that's being fired. But at any rate, okay, all right,
But he was fired at Georgia Tech.
Okay.
This text here says, "Who is more disappointing this year? The Gators, the Noles, the Jags, or the Dolphins? A lot of bad football in this state." That's easy. That would be your semis, because the semis were ranked in the top 10.
Just big disappointment. Unbelievable how they put all their chips in on this quarterback that was just a journeyman. He was a journeyman. He couldn't get it done at Clemson. What is Mike Norvell doing? I mean, this is a guy they just extended for 8 years or some ridiculous amount of time because he won a lot of games last year. Seriously? Yeah, he brought him back from the depths of hell. But come on, one season, you're going to let him go. Same thing they did at Texas A&M with Jimbo. He has one good season, John James Fisher, and let's extend him into eternity. That's these people, these ADs. God, I swear, these guys, they're really either really good or they're really bad at making judgments on coaches. It's incredible. There's no in between, man. You either a really good AD like Greg Byrne. Hey, there's Kalen DeBoer. I'm going to go get him. Or Ross, whatever his name was at A&M. There's Jimbo Fisher. He had a great year. Let's give him $100 million. Yeah. I mean, it's guaranteed.
31 Ember says Bostic's too old to be designed around those trees. They were saplings when Ross. No, they redid the course like 15 years ago.
Now greens were redone too, and that really helped.
And they redid holes.
They did. So, they redid 4 or 5, all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So the big oak trees on 12 up by the green are gone, and a lot of the trees down the left side of number 9 are gone now.
Okay.
It's going to make the holes not the same.
No.
All right. Before we get out of here. Andy wants to know, why do I think Antoine Powell-Ryland's playing so well at Virginia Tech? He's a good pass rusher for sure, but he's got a better defensive players around him. Virginia Tech's defense is way better than ours. And then Matt wants to know on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mountain Law, what are your thoughts on the Indiana coach possibly coming to Florida? I think he's a very good football coach, but you're going to, people are going to raise hell about
that's not a splash hire. You have been adamant, folks. Yeah. That's the word of the day today, adamant.
Yeah,
you've been adamant that they have to have a splash hire. Splash.
Yeah,
and that's
all right.
That's a big order. All order.
All right, JC. Before we get you out of here, anything else?
Well,
what stood out to you in the NFL yesterday?
Well, I tell you, the NFL was interesting. I was surprised once again that Jacksonville just finds ways to lose football games. I hate these coaches that don't kick field goals because of some analytical algorithm that they think is a good idea. I don't think that's smart. And Jaden Daniels, once again, has proven that he may be one of the top 3 best quarterbacks in the league. Forget the rookie status. This guy is leveling people and killing defenses. The Denver Broncos have returned the Orange Crush. I will tell you that. The Chiefs are not as good as their record, and injuries will catch up to the Chiefs. And the Chargers are just as dumb as they were before Jim Harbaugh got there.
They're wasting Justin Herbert, man.
They're wasting him, and Jim Harbaugh knows better. Shame on him.
No, because that's what he wants to do. He muddies up the game and he keeps them in it.
Well, good luck in the NFL with that. And even though he won at San Francisco, it's a lot different now. And then I think that the story has to be the way the Minnesota Vikings are playing football. That game was really not nearly as close as the score. Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator at Minnesota, has done amazing things. And Sam freaking Darnold has had a career outbreak, a resuscitation of his career. And he is right now one of the hottest things going, as are the Vikings. Next week, they get the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers in town, and they will likely go 5-0 after they beat the Jets. Actually, I'll take that back. It's in London. It's in London, England, so anything's possible. Take that off the table. You just don't know. But I do think Jaden Daniels right now is so far ahead of the rest of his class in terms of the rookie class that came into the league. He's just running away from the rest of these players, and he's doing it with a team that could not win a football game because guys like Terry McLaurin and other people like that are jumping out and making plays now because they got a quarterback and a dude they're confident in. And it's amazing how he's uplifted the Redskins / Commanders / Redskins. And I think it's great for Washington because that is a long-suffering fan base. As a Dallas fan, I hate to see it, but I'm happy for those fans because they hang on to history up there in Washington, and they have nothing until now because this kid Daniels, well, you were right about him from day one, but it took me a while to come on board. But my God, is he good? And
he's very good.
He is unbelievable how good he is. And I think defensive coordinators are going to have a hard time game plan for him, just like they do with Jalen Milroe right now. People are having a hard time figuring it out.
All right, we got to take a break. JC, in the meantime, call all your buddies in Washington and tell them that folks up in the mountains in Western Carolina need help. Can you do that?
Yes, I'll do all I can.
Don't send any more money or supplies overseas. Send them to them.
The guy's asleep on the beach. Okay, the guy that was supposedly elected 4 years ago is asleep on the beach. Maybe somebody will pick up the phone, but I'm not. Listen, we've got just over a month to make some changes here. We'll see if the country wants it or not. We'll see.
All right, that's JC. Join us on the Titan Number Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. We're going to get to Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, Titan MRI, Meldon Law, Peachland Dental, QC Kinetics, Campus USA Credit Union, Dave & Buster's. Gridiron sponsors, CertaPro Painters, Comfort Temp, UF Bookstores, Quality Plumbing, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogra State Farm, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, F45, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Aikido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, MG&A Wealth, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Nest and Wild, Florida Victorious, Electronics World. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless, mimosas, and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Discover the ultimate Cuban culinary experience at Miapa Latin Cafe with 5 locations in Gainesville and Alachua. You're never far from the best Cuban food north of Miami. Back to the Titan Number Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. It's our man Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. What's up, Scott? Did you get some rest during your bye week?
I did, although we went about 16 hours without power. So that was no fun because of the storm, and did some work, but overall can't complain. That's, you see what happened in other places. So we survived pretty nicely. But yeah, it was nice, I guess, not to have to deal with the football game because you know how we've had to do that many times with these hurricanes coming through. So that was a plus.
Yeah. Mandy asked on Facebook Live, how's Kerwin's team doing with the storm? I finally got in touch with Kerwin yesterday. Cell service is still not working in some of those places. They were off, and they have kids all over the country. They're supposed to get back to practice today. They don't know how many kids are going to be able to make it back. So was not good for them. Scott, we got a question here on the Titan MRR text line for you from Gator Guy. He says, Scott, can you tell us about any injuries? Are we getting any of these players back? Baroche, Slackman, Turner, and Trey Wilson?
Well, I do know that they're hopeful to get some of those guys back. Billy's talking today. We'll know more. I mean, he's not. You've noticed in the last month or so with the new policy, they're not giving out a lot more on injury as much as they used to, unless asked specifically. So we know that Trey Wilson is going to be asked about today. We know Barreau. I think Barreau's an important guy to try to get back. So I don't have, I can't say that those guys are going to be back for certain. But I do know that they're hopeful to get some of them back for UCF. And I think that's just going to be an ongoing policy now. We're going to, excuse me, with the new policy, Billy says he's going to play along. So I don't think we're going to get as much info on those injuries until those reports come out.
Yeah. Andy's question for you, I'll answer it as well on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. He said, do you think the Gators have a better shot to beat UCF and Ole Miss after Saturday's game? Maybe UCF. I still, just because Ole Miss lost people, they're pretty good.
Yeah. I have the same kind of feeling. I think Ole Miss, I'll be surprised if that's not a motivator for them. I don't, they're in such a tough division or, tough league. They're probably going to lose another game, but I won't be surprised if they get on a roll because I just thought they played a bad game. And then UCF, to be honest with you, I think it was a combination. I watched that whole game just trying to get an idea of what UCF looks like. And, the turnovers just killed them. Colorado got 4, and it took them out of what they love to do. They still rushed for almost 200 yards, but KJ Jefferson had to throw 35 times. Gus Malzahn, that's not the game plan. He wants to keep it on the ground and make Jefferson go to the air maybe as a surprise or a big play. So Colorado, give them credit. They took UCF out of their game with those turnovers. I still think that's going to be a tough game for Florida. Is it winnable? Certainly it's winnable. I mean, you're at home. But again, with where the program is, with all the uncertainty, I think if Florida can get some turnovers like Colorado did, that would be huge. That's one thing that, as we've talked about, as we've written about over the last 2 or 3 years, that's such a lacking area for the Gators defense in recent seasons, not forcing turnovers. You saw how important it is for a team going on the road, forcing 4 turnovers and really winning easily at UCF the other day for Colorado.
Yeah, they did play well. I didn't watch a lot of that game. I was flipping around, but I forgot that Colorado, with probably the best thing Dion did. I still don't think they're a very good team, but the best thing he did was, I don't know if he fired last year's offensive coordinator or he left, but he hired is it Shermer, who coached
Pat
for the
Shurmur.
Packers?
Yeah, Pat Shurmur, who's a veteran. He was at Vanderbilt, but he's also got a lot of NFL experience. He's a veteran. And when you have a guy like Travis Hunter, that was my first time watching the whole game with Travis Hunter. I've heard all the hype, and I watched him. I could see. I mean, the guy is so unique, and he's a great player, man.
Yeah, he really is, and he never comes out of the game. Which if you got your best players, play them. I've never understood. Try to win the damn game with your best players, and they definitely do that for sure. But UCF is definitely beatable. I think it's going to come down to, can we stop their run game?
Yep.
And can we stop KJ Jefferson, who I think he's running like a refrigerator now. He looks so damn slow to me, Scott.
He didn't look nearly as good running the ball the other day against Colorado as what he looked last year and against the Gators, obviously. But again, Colorado got him out of their game plan. But he made some nice runs. I think UCF still finished with 177 yards rushing, 461 in the game. So they're going to move the ball against the Gators. It's just a matter of, can Florida, force them into mistakes and get that crowd into it and, let the swamp do its thing. Because I think as we go forward here, Shane, with where this Florida program is, I mean, when you are going to be pretty much an underdog in most games, or at least evenly matched, you've got to come up with those turnovers, those big plays. and that's how you surprise people. So that's what the Gators are going to need.
Yeah, as I've been talking about for 2.5, 3 years now, front seven is going to be key to winning the game Saturday night. Which, by the way, kudos to the fan base. We got another sellout. Now that doesn't mean everybody's going to be in their seat, but every ticket has been sold. Isn't that correct?
It has, man, and that's one thing I don't know if we talk about because I get asked a lot about like, well, are the fans gonna just shut them down? Look, I give Florida fans a lot of credit. I mean, even Mullins last year and Billy's first couple of years, I mean, the fans have been there. They're doing their part. They've turned out, so there is another sellout. I think the 7th consecutive sellout at the Swamp, going back to last season. So yeah, it's just they're wanting to get behind this team. They're wanting to see it turn around. And the Gators, when you're at home, I mean, you've got to use that crowd, unlike they were able to do really against Miami or Texas A&M by getting down so early. The only way you use them is you get an early lead and let them be your extra person. So we'll see how that works out. But I think a fast start is so important for the Gators on Saturday.
Michael's question for you on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum. What defensive changes does Scott think Billy will make to improve our run defense? Is there anything he can do?
Shane, I mean, you are what you are right now. I know he's talked a little bit about all hands on deck was a quote he used last week at his press conference, and I happened to tweet it, and man, my Twitter blew up. People did not like that. It's like, well, what's he been doing? Well, I think what he was trying to say, I mean, they're looking at how to improve in the season here. They're looking at all options. I think he's probably looking closer on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, you got Ron Roberts, a first-year coordinator, Austin Armstrong, the last year's coordinator. There's a lot of voices or pieces to that operation over there. And I think you're probably trying to streamline it some to simplify it for the players, because obviously what has been there has been some miscommunication. I think there's been some chaos, between snaps on the field. But as far as players and making huge changes, it just rarely happens in football, Shane. I mean, can you improve? Yeah. But, you've got to have the players play well. You've got to put them in the positions to make the plays when they're there. And again, you've got to force some turnovers defensively. That's the equalizer. That's the great booster at getting turnovers, man.
People talking about our record in the Swamp, and Barone says, then again, Napier doesn't seem to understand rivalries at any level so far as a hit. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. We just haven't beaten them. That doesn't mean he doesn't understand them. I know last all season they did a bunch of videos of like 3 of the top rivalry games. I think it was FSU, Tennessee, and Georgia, that a lot of former players were on it. I mean, they've tried. Look, people, we have not been very good. I don't know how else to put it.
I don't know if there is a way to put it, Shane. I mean, you when you line up with a team that maybe doesn't have the players that the other team has, you're going to lose most of the time in college football, in any sport, really. Can good coaching and good creativity sometimes overcome some of those shortcomings? Sure. But you have to do it consistently. And I think, when you look at Florida's biggest issue, and I said this last year, I've said it from the start this year, and I'll say it to the end of this season with whatever happens. The roster is just, it's not going to compete with those 2 teams that we saw Saturday night, Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. You saw what elite level SEC football looks like in 2024. And right now, Florida, unfortunately, we've seen Gator teams that have that kind of talent, but we haven't seen it in recent years. But that's what it looks like. If you were watching that game, it was pretty easy to tell that, okay, those guys looked a little different than the Gators right now. And that's as simple as I can put it.
Yeah, I agree with that. They want to know why Cormani McClain isn't playing. I don't even know if has he dressed at all?
I think he maybe is dressed, and yeah, but he hasn't played. I mean, Billy said from the start, this is a kind of a redemption year for Cormani McClain. I mean, he was a guy who went out to Colorado. We all know his backstory. Didn't work out. And I think he was, he came in as a preferred walk-on to get a spot on a roster. And he had some history with the Gators. And, it'd be a great story if Cormani McClain does develop and turn into a player at Florida or really anywhere, I think, with his backstory. But I think this is a year where they were looking to see what kind of commitment the guy has. And is he there to the point where he can help him on the field? That's a good question. Could the outlook change from the start of this season, the way things are going? Perhaps, but I haven't had any indication or heard anything that, that's going to change in upcoming games, but we'll see.
Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. We got Scott Carter here from FloridaGators.com. We got a text here, by the way. He says, Scott, can you give an update? This is from Jimmy on the Titan Mar text line. Can you give us an update on how the volleyball team's doing?
Well, the volleyball team had a big win at Oklahoma to start SEC play. The big news is Alexis Stuckey and Kennedy Martin are back. Jimmy probably knows, Alexis Stuckey was hurt last year when Florida was playing that big game against number 1 Wisconsin. They were rolling. She gets hurt. That really altered the course of their season. So now with her back, you're hoping what can happen is they can get better and readjust to having her back in the lineup as the year progresses. They did lose Sunday to Kentucky, a very good SEC program. So I think they're going through that stage of readjustment with her, but they're certainly a better team with Alexis Stuckey. I think they have high hopes. They're in the top 20. I think they're going to get better as the year goes on, and we'll see. But I do think that this is a team that if it can really play well and get hot later in the season, I think they can be a factor in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, got to get healthy. That's the big thing for sure. We had a couple of people asking questions. How many fans do I think UCF's going to have there? I'm sure they're going to buy tickets off Ticketmaster. But do you know what their allotment was? Because it varies from school to school, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's in that 8,000 range, but I don't have that specific number, Shane. I've seen enough online this week, over the weekend, to know that UCF fans are looking at this game probably as a huge potential statement game, to come up and perhaps win at the Swamp, and that'd be their second win in a row over the Gators when you go back to the Gasparilla Bowl in the final year for Mullen. So, yeah, there's a lot at stake for both programs. I mean, UCF, let's face it, after what happened last weekend, they're under some scrutiny too, losing the big home game to Colorado. But, clearly it's a bigger game for Florida and for Billy Napier, and I think it's just we're going to have this similar conversation, Shane, probably as we go along here. It's really it's a cliche. It's a week by week thing, and the Gators, if they could, if they've won 2 out of 3, that's the positive spin. The negative spin is they really haven't beaten a top tier team yet. So we'll see. Is UCF a top tier team?
No,
I don't think so. But I think you need to take care of that game to offer hope to go up to Tennessee and compete.
Yeah, no question. All right, before we get out of here, Barone says, can you ask Scott if he thinks Florida has a good shot at the Boozer twins for basketball, and when would basketball commits start being announced? We were supposed to have Chris on Friday. He had no power. Wouldn't get him on probably this week, but any word? I think it was between us, Duke, and Miami, right?
And last I heard, maybe the Dukies have fought out. All I know is from my colleague is that I know there was some serious potential there with the Boozer twins. I know Todd Golden is doing what he can do there. So, but I don't have any of the latest updates of where they stand. But I just know that Florida's a player, and boy, that would be a huge get for Todd Golden and crew.
Yeah, I'll say. All right, I'm going to get to this day in sports before we get out of here. I'm going to see if you remember this, Scott. Brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. 1988, the Soviet Union beats Yugoslavia to win the gold medal at the Seoul Olympics. The U.S. finished third. That was the last time the U.S. fielded a non-NBA team.
Non-NBA team in 88. Was the Bobby Knight the coach that year?
Well, it didn't tell me all that, but
you were just given a factoid there.
That was a fact. Yeah, that's what happened on this day in sports in 1988.
1988. So if I had to guess on that team in 88, you might have So let's see, maybe Wayman Tisdale or
from Oklahoma.
Jordan was already in the NBA, obviously.
Yeah, I would have. This would have been. That would have been. Yeah, so
Summer of '88.
I just got on campus, so it would have been. Yeah, I don't. I'd have to go think, but I
Yeah,
thought that was interesting.
that
So
is an interesting. That's what prompted the dream team, that third place finish, and
yeah,
then we know we know what has happened since then. We've dominated, but that team, that's interesting. I like to go back and see who was on that team. You piqued my interest there, Shane.
all right, all right. Last question, text here on the Titan Mar text line from William Scott. What do you think the quarterback rotation is going to be for UCF?
I think it's going to be very similar than we saw against Mississippi State. I mean, I think Mertz goes out, starts, and obviously if they can get in a rhythm with him, then you slip DJ in there at some moments, maybe to change a pace or a surprise. But I thought if as far as the quarterback rotation goes, it can't work much better than it did at Mississippi State.
Right.
They went 26 out of 28. Mertz was on. DJ came in and made 7 for 7 in the passing game, rushed for 20-some yards, I think. So that's the perfect case scenario for quarterback rotation, in my opinion. I think that's also the perfect case quarterback scenario for Billy Napier right now, because I think Mertz is the guy who, they're looking to, I think, more in terms of the veteran guy to maybe navigate these turbulent waters ahead. But if it's not working with him, you instantly turn to DJ and say, let's see what you can do. And, that's how I look at it.
Yeah. We'll see what happens Saturday night. Scott, good stuff as always.
Opinion?
Huh?
You got a different opinion?
No, I
Oh,
don't.
I thought you.
I mean, look, this is Graham Mertz's team. We've been saying that all. I don't think anything changes because he had a bad outing against Miami, which everybody had a bad outing against Miami that was in orange and blue, right?
Yeah.
Those happen. I think he's played well, and let him go play. Sprinkle DJ in there whenever they feel comfortable. Again, I get blasted about this, but people don't listen to what I say. Offense is not your problem. Is offense great? No, but in the phase of football on this team, it is not have been the problem. It is your defense.
No, and I agree with you 100% there. I mean, I get all the interest in DJ Lagway. I'm very interested in him myself. But I think right now you can win football games with Graham Mertz if your defense plays a lot better.
Yeah, that's the thing. Just play it. I always say just play a average or just a little bit better than average. You don't have to be spectacular.
Yeah.
But we'll see. They better buckle their chin straps because they're going to get a lot of attempts in the rushing attack, and you're going to tackle big old KJ Jefferson. So, Scott,
No doubt.
Appreciate your time, my friend. We'll see you in the press box Saturday.
All right, Shane, take care, buddy.
That's Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com, senior writer. Electronics World, integration and design specialist, smart home automation and entertainment, affordable local installation, service, and support. Go check them out at electronicsworld.net. Appreciate everybody chiming in today. We'll have Buddy Martin here tomorrow, and either Chris Harry tomorrow or Thursday. I got to check his schedule, talk a little Gator hoops. Have a great day, folks. Take care.